Hello and welcome back to the channel. On today's tutorial, I'm going to be sharing with you how to cut and sew a bustier gown with a double sleeve and also a drape at the waistline. So if it's your first time viewing my channel, please hit on the subscribe button. So let's dive right into today's video. So now here is my pattern and I've gone ahead to cut it out. We'll be cutting out the yoke later. So on this part, I cut it on fold, added ½ inch on this part. So on this part also, which is the side part, I went ahead to add ½ inch on top, round in front and below it. So now we're going to go ahead to join our pattern. So to join it is with ½ inch. So now you're going to be joining your pattern with half. So but before doing that, I'm going to be cutting out a light wording for this. So I don't want to use much padding. Actually, the person that making the dress doesn't want much padding on the dress, so that's why I'm using a light wording. So now I want to cut out my cup, the wording that I'm going to use for the dress. So now I'm going to take note of my under bust and I'm going to cut out this way. So you can go ahead and mark your nipple to nipple divided by 2 and go ahead and mark 1 inch outwards because the bust is actually bigger by this side. So now I'm going to be using this to cut out for the two sides of the bustier and I'm going to place this way. So remember we have like ½ inch in front, so I just went ahead to notch this part to indicate where the bust point is, where I will be joining my pattern so that I won't get confused. So I'll go ahead to add ½ inch on top, ½ inch in front, and at the lower part I'll cut exactly what I have at that point. So after I'm done cutting, I'm going to go ahead to notch it so that I will know the side to join to the cup area. So now this is the center part of this and I'm going to cut it on fold just like I did. Now I'm not going to add ½ inch in front because I'm cutting it on fold already. So the ½ inch I'm going to add is by the other side on top, and you're not going to add ½ inch beneath it because it is your under bust. So I'll just go ahead and trace it out this way. So now I'm going to go ahead to place it, that's the shiny part, at the back or wrong side of the Ankara fabric, and I'm going to iron it. So on this side I'm also going to take note of this notched part, so that is the part that is facing the joining part, and on this part also I'm going to go ahead to place this. So now I'm going to place it together this way after I'm done ironing, and I will stitch. So my ironing table is actually inside, so I'll go ahead to do that. So now this is what I have, and the next thing is to go ahead to attach my yoke. So this is the yoke that I'm working with. So I added ½ inch on top and beneath it, and I just cut it out on fold. So I have one piece, right? So I'm just going to pin it and so you're just going to place it this way, stitch with ½ inch, and I'm going to sew with ½ inch on it, and repeat the same process at the other side also. So I'm done sewing and this is what I have. Right now I'm going to be introducing the lining. So I forgot, I went ahead to iron stay to the lining, so you can also iron gum stay to it also. So now I'm going to place the yoke facing the right side of the fabric, then I'll place the lining part with this, and I'll go ahead to stitch it with ½ inch at the neckline just like we did earlier. So now I'm done sewing. This is what I have, and as you can see, it's looking very neat. So now for this ½ inch on top, you can go ahead to notch it out, or you can go ahead to sew the excess down to the lining part of the dress. Just top stitch it to the lining of your dress. So after I'm done sewing, this is what I have. As you can see, it is looking very neat. So now you want to go ahead to stitch up the side. So I'm going to flip my fabric this way, place it, and I'm going to stitch with ½ inch by this side. After stitching here, I'm going to repeat the same process at this side, and I'm going to go ahead to stitch with 1/2 inch. So for my pattern, I went ahead to add 1/2 inch when I was cutting on the fabric on the shoulder, on the neckline. Do not add at the zipper and by the side. So you're going to be adding 1/2 inch for joining allowance. So now this is the back, and I have cut out the lining. So I did not iron gum stay or end stay to it, but I'm going to be doing it later because my ironing table is not closed. So now I'm just going to illustrate to you how to stitch up your back. So go ahead and stitch up the neckline, the zipper and the side, and also go ahead to do that on this other side also. So after I'm done stitching, this is what we have, and I'm going to go ahead to sew the dart intake at the back, and now we're going to sew the skirt pattern. So on the lining, I went ahead to measure out 2.5 inches. So now you're going to go ahead to place the lining at the lower part of the skirt, and you're going to stitch with 1/2 inch. So after stitching with 1/2 inch, so this is what I have, and the next thing is you want to give it a turn up effect at the lower part of the skirt, and to do that is to raise the fabric this way, and I'm going to go ahead and measure about 1.5 inches starting from that 1/2 inch that I stitched. So I'm going to measure 1.5 from this part, and then I'm going to place, and I'm going to stitch with 1/2 inch, and I'm also going to repeat it on this part. So I'll also do this for the back pattern also to create a turn up effect. So I'm just going to bring it to show you. So now after sewing, I'm going to bring that to show you. So now this is the front pattern, and I'm going to notch it. I'm also going to go ahead to notch the center of this skirt, so that way I'll fold it into 2 and cut it. So now the notched part of the upper part, I'll take it and place it on the notched part of the skirt, and I'll join with 1/2 inch. So this is what I have after I'm done joining. Now we moving over to the back. I went ahead to join the back, and now we're going to join the front part and the back part of this dress. So I'm going to use the shoulder of the back to turn the shoulder of the front. So I'm going to place the shoulder in between the back, and I'll flip it and stitch with 1/2 inch at the upper part. So now I'm going to go ahead to cut out the first sleeve for this dress. So I cut this out on fold. So for the length, I have 11 inches, and for the width, I have 5.5 on fold. Opening it, I have 11 inches. So now I'm going to take this other one and I'll place it on it. So I want to cut out my sleeve just to give it a little shape at the lower part of the sleeve. So I'm just going to trim it out, so I don't have any measurement at this part. Then after trimming this part, I'll fold it over, and I'm going to cut out this other side of the sleeve. So this is what I have. So what I'm going to do right now is to iron gum stay at the wrong side of the fabric, and I'm going to fold it into 2 and stitch with 1/2 inch. After that, I'm going to turn it to the right side. So after I'm done doing this, I want to go ahead to attach this sleeve to the dress. So now this is a basic sleeve that I cut out. So in my previous video, I actually showed how to cut out this sleeve. Please, sorry for not cutting it out on this video, so you can check it up on that other video. So now I'm going to go ahead to place this first sleeve on the dress this way. So watch where I'm placing it. I placed at the back and I pinned it down. So for this side also, I'm going to place it immediately after the yoke I have in front of my dress, and I'm going to pin it down this way. Then I'll go over to the sewing machine and stitch with 1/2 inch. On this other side, I'm going to go ahead and pin it this way. So while pinning, make sure that that part we trimmed off is facing down. So after doing that, this is what I have. I've attached the first sleeve to the dress. So now to attach my sleeve, I'm going to place this on it this way, and I'm going to join from the center of the sleeve, stitch with 1/2 inch. So you're going to move your first sleeve backwards so that it's not going to interfere with this other one you're going to stitch. So on this other side also, I'm going to push this sleeve back into the dress, then place the center of the sleeve, and I'm going to stitch with 1/2 inch to the lower part, and then stitch 1/2 inch to the other side of the armhole. So after I'm done stitching my sleeves, this is what I have. So now we are going to work on the lower part where we will be draping this lace. So I just cut out a little piece of lace to drape this lower part. So now on one side, the side going towards the right side is a bit lower than what we have at the left side. So I'm just going to fold and pin down. So I'm going to stitch on it so that it's going to hold it down. So on this other side, I'm going to go ahead to just drape it up. So I'm just going to push it up this way and stitch on it to hold it down. Now after stitching that, we're going to go ahead to shape this dress. So I'll mark the shoulder to bust. After marking that shoulder to under bust, I'll mark shoulder to waistline, and I'll place my tape, and I'm going to mark 7 inches for the hip line. Now to shape my bustier, I'm going to go ahead to measure what I have here, and the bust circumference I'm working with is 37 inches. 37 divided by 2, I have 18.5. So what I have at the middle here is 7.5. So I'll be minusing that 18.5 minus 7, I have 11 inches. So sharing 11 inches at both sides, I'll be marking 5.5. After marking 5.5 at this point, I'm going to go ahead to mark 5.5 at the other side. So when you're marking out, please stretch out in case you have excess lining. So at this part on the under bust, so now measuring what I have here, I have 6 inches. The under bust circumference of the person is 33 divided by 2, I have 16.5. 16.5 minus 6 inches, so I have 11.5. So I'll be sharing what I have into 2, and I'll mark at both sides. So this is how to shape a bustier at the upper part. So now we'll be moving down to the lower part, which is the waist circumference. So I'm going to mark the waist circumference at this point. So at the hip side, I'm going to go ahead to mark the hip circumference. So how to mark that is you're going to divide your hip circumference into 2, and whatever you have left, you're going to go ahead to mark it on your dress. So after doing this, I'm just going to go down and mark about 2 inches by the side. So I'll take that 2 inches down till I get to the lower part of the dress. So you can as well mark 1.5 inches if you want. So it just depends on how fitted you want your dress to be. So after marking that, I'll go over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch on the dress. Then going to the armhole side, you're going to go ahead to mark your armhole circumference divided by 2, or you can just take what you have at this point upwards, and I'll stitch the hand with 1/2 inch. So now by the side of the dress, you notice like a little ruffle there. So I'm going to join this fabric, and I'm going to stitch it together with 1/2 inch. So if you have enough fabric, you can also go ahead and cut out a flounce for that part. So after joining, this is what I have, and now I'm going to go ahead to stitch this to the side of the dress this way, and I'm just going to go ahead to fold and stitch. Just open the back and top stitch this by the side. So I'm going to bring it to show you the final look of the dress. So after I'm done sewing, this is the final look of the dress. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and also join us in our next video. Thanks.